Hey there, audio friends. Welcome back to the channel. MrAyrit here, and today I'm going to close up my thoughts on the Fosi ZA3 and kind of just my home theater system down here that I have built using two of those as monos for my Emotiva T0 pluses. And so I'm going to drop links to previous videos. I did kind of an initial impressions video of the ZA3, and then I did an op-amp rolling video of the ZA3, and then I wanted to finish it out with a mono versus stereo video, because that was something that I was curious about, and that's one of the reasons why I was really intrigued by the ZA3s was to do that test between stereo and mono. So this video is going to be pretty quick. It's really not that complicated of a story. I mean, it's probably what you would expect. In stereo mode, when I went from mono to stereo, there was a noticeable drop in volume, right? Like that's to be expected, because you're taking, half of the watts and you're moving them to a second speaker as opposed to using them all for one. So definitely a noticeable drop in volume. I would say in general it pretty much retains the amp's frequency response and kind of just overall characters, but it does feel a little more forced in stereo than mono. It did feel, I would say, like the amp was just being pushed a little bit more, it didn't feel like it was in its comfort zone, is what I kind of wrote down, as opposed to when I switched back to mono and I'm listening to them, I just felt like both the amps and the speakers just kind of seemed to feel a little more at ease with each other. The presentation just didn't feel, and I think this comes with, it's really hard to put a finger on it, but I would say it really comes with the micro details of things, in that in stereo they're getting pushed a little more forward, and it's a little more forced, whereas with the mono, with the more power, they're just there, and it's just easier it's just a little bit easier of a presentation. You don't feel like the amps are straining or the speakers are straining. It just kind of felt like everything was just tight and just really sounding fantastic. So I would say my experience with it is that the op amps make more difference than going stereo versus mono as far as a sound characteristic goes. So I guess if you're thinking about getting something like a ZA3 so you can have an upgrade path, my recommendation would be to get a ZA3, use it in stereo, get op amps that you like find a set of op amps that you like to run the amp, and then buy a second amp if you want to go mono, if you think you need to go mono or want to try it, and then get your op amps for that amp. I think is the logical upgrade path for most people, is what I would say. Now, one last tidbit here to add, kitty coming out here, but one last tidbit to add is I did in my previous op amp video, I thought maybe I would try one of those op amps to swap out the sub output. I did do that with the LM, which is the op amp that I thought was a little bit warmer sounding, had a little bit nicer bass texture. I did go ahead and swap that out for the subwoofer out on the amp that's powering my passive subwoofer, and it definitely made a difference for sure, but I thought it made it too bloaty, if I'm being perfectly honest. So I just wanted to add that little tidbit in here just to kind of wrap up this whole thoughts on my ZA3. So my final system down here, as it is now, is I've got Soundcause SGD1 as the DAC, which I've had for a while, and that thing's just been super solid. Now I'm running two ZA3s to each of my Emotiva T0 pluses. I've got a Yamo hooked up to one. I've got a Yamo powered C910 subwoofer, which is pretty decent. I need to do a full review on that one, but just the TLDR on that one is I would just spring for the 12 instead of the 10. The 10's good, but the 12 isn't much more, so I would just go for the 12 on that one. And then I've got my 12 that I built down here that's being run by an IEMA A07. That's just a passive sub, right? And Man, I love this system. It is supremely detailed. It is just crystal clear without being like too forward or too harsh. The bass is powerful but not overbearing. Everything, just clarity is just, when I'm listening to it, I'm just going, what more could I possibly want out of a system? Like it's a really phenomenal system. So if you figure, let's think about total cost of the system. Speakers were $350. Subs, I've got probably $100 in that sub. I've got $120 in that sub, plus the AO7 for that sub. So let's just say each sub was $150. So we're at $650. Soundcause SGD1 was $300 or $350. So we're at, let's call it $1,000 there, and then two ZA3s would be another $300. So we're talking about a $1,300 system to run all of my home theater stuff here, and whew, God, it sounds good. It sounds really, really good. I really impressed with all of these things, and it's really been a fun experience for me to just experiment with getting this set up down here. I have more that I want to do. Not really with the system. I mean, I'll do some more testing specifically. I'll review that Yamo C912 sub, and I might even get a 12 to compare, honestly. But I want to fix, you can see I've got holes in the walls here where my previous in-wall speakers were back way when I started all this. I want to make some room treatment, I think, is going to be the next phase. Not that I feel like I need a ton of it down here, but that's a rabbit hole that I haven't dove into yet. So I'm going to do like some DIY room treatment, I think, and see where that gets me. But all in all, I'm just loving this system down here. It's been super fun to experiment with. Thanks to Fosi for sending me one ZA3, and then I purchased one of them. Thanks to Sparkos for sending me the op amps that are now running both of those ZA3s. And like I said, I'll be doing some more experimenting down here with this system as far as just like swapping things out to review and stuff like that. But all in all, I think it's pretty close to its final form for the time being, which is a good feeling to be there. So questions, comments, thoughts, drop all that down in below. Thanks for coming along with me to this journey. Again, I'll link to those previous videos if you haven't checked those out yet. And, hopefully I'll see you in the next one for some of these other videos that are coming up. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.